Hello everyone. We are now at head office of Ant Group in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am Yimi Yong, Deputy Editor and Media Strategist from TN Global, a news portal covering tech news across Southeast Asia. So I'm very happy to be here. We have two gentlemen joining us today, Leo from Ant Digital Technologies, Chee Mun from Right Bank. So first of all, I would like you guys to introduce what do you do and some of your background. So let's start with Leo.
Hello, my name is Liu Li. I'm president of international business of Ant Digital Technology. Previously, I worked in Huawei for 17 years and worked in Tencent for 6 years. Joined the Ant Group. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chee Mun, the CEO of YTL AI Labs and senior advisor for Right Bank. I was a guy that was brought in to build Right Bank from ground up. Previously, I co-founded this one of the biggest neobank in the United States called MoneyLion. Went into listing. I stayed for a year and then I decided to retire, but also decided to unretire after 4 months.
Okay.
So yes.
First thing first, I just received some good news. So congratulations to the both of you on winning the best AI-powered customer experience and engagement initiative from the Asian Banker. From both of your perspective, a pioneering digital bank and a global technology leader. So what does this award represent to you?
First and foremost, it's a great award and we fully appreciate it. It means a lot to us after going through so much building the bank that is clearly differentiated from others. I think from an industry, it's a validation of the movement of AI usage from the back end of a bank to the front end of the bank. AI has been used in banking for a bit of time, but predominantly invisible to the users. In the age of generative AI, there is no reason why such great technology are not being applied to communicate with the users, to directly affect the life of the users. I think this award validates the fact that we managed to become the biggest digital bank in Malaysia only 7 months after launch. So that is a validation that this kind of differentiation matter. The award is really meaningful to me personally because I can bring it out and show my competitors.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, from my side, first of all, we feel very, very honored to receive this award. Based on our understanding, we found that AI financial industry is no longer optional; it's mandatory, and our technology and the solution not only can be used and proven in China but also in Malaysia, because there's a lot of localization and regulatory compliance. We are very happy to long-term collaboration partnership with Red Bank, so we can co-create a lot of innovative solutions. So we are very, very happy. Still, we are happy, honored to receive this award.
So now we would like to move to another topic. It's the AI native bank. For some, this is something like a new term for them. Chee Mun, your vision is to build a AI native bank. Leo, your mission is to enable enterprise AGI for global businesses. They sound like two sides of the same coin, but the view from each other is different. Would like to know from you guys, like how do you define AI native bank in your mind? Like what fundamentally differentiate AI native bank from other conventional digital bank?
Personally, I think what this AI native bank is that we don't treat AI as a feature. AI is fundamentally part of the design principle, that it goes into everything that we design. The technology of generative AI is the first time in the history of computing that we have computers that understand what human mean. It used to be in such a way that it has to be translated through computing language or user interface before computer understand. There is a big opportunity to reinvent how we interact with computer. How we design every single product and how we design every single backend processes change fundamentally because of this fundamental platform shift. And this is akin to what it used to be when the internet came by. There is a special internet department with the older companies. But internet native company do not think of internet as a feature. It takes internet as everything that it does, right? It's the design principle behind all of the products. Similarly, in Right Bank, we think that AI is the fundamental driving force to design everything that we do.
AI native bank is born in AI. What kind of value they provide eventually AI provide to the bank? I think we can evaluate from three perspectives. The first one, whether AI enhance the revenue for the bank. The second, whether AI can reduce the risk for the bank. And third is whether AI can reshape the customer experience. To realize this, to provide this value, I think also need two parts. One part is the body and the mind. Body means based on the IT infrastructure, we can draw three concentric circles. The first circle inside maybe whether this all the IT infrastructure is based on AI. The second is whether they can provide the AI native business or solution to customer. And the outside is whether they reshape the customer experience. Eventually, the customer will use the services based on AI, right? So this is the body. And the mind maybe also we can draw three concentric circles. The first is whether the management have very clear AI-based strategy. The second, whether they form the organization for AI. The last part is whether decision making based on AI. So this is my observation.
So for Right Bank, is there any like AI feature that you're particularly proud of? And then, so what surprised you when users adopted?
I'm just going to give you two, right? That first, you can snap a picture on any handwritten or printed receipts, and it will automatically understand it and be able to pay the person that you want to pay, even including the taxes and everything. To me, AI is not just a feature, it becomes an assistant, a real human assistant that is with you 24/7 and never complain and make your life easier. To me, those are the two that I really enjoy a lot.
Malaysia is like this fascinating linguistic patchwork. We have like Malay, Mandarin, Tamil, English, and most AI models, they are trained on English first data. So we'd like to know, when you guys like building YTL's Ilmu LLM model and the related chat and clause services, how Malaysians actually speak, so mixing languages, respecting cultural nuances, and in financial decisions, how RISE conversational banking leverage Ilmu to uplift the customer experience?
That's a very good question. When we first built Right Bank, 3 months after the launch of ChatGPT, we asked ourselves, how do you build a bank in the age of generative AI? We did a lot of soul searching and came up with a very simple idea. It's hard to even say that we came up with the idea because it is essentially how 99% of the science fiction story goes, is that if you want to do something, you just speak to the computer and it automatically do something for you, which is not the way it is for bulk of the computing industry, right? So we just thought, okay, that should be easy to build in the age of generative AI. And we started with the dominant large language models such as OpenAI, Mistral, and all this. But very soon, you realize that it simply doesn't understand how Malaysian communicate, right? We need our own large language model that understand Malaysian, because we measure. If you speak in American English, large language model will be able to understand 95% of what you're saying accurately. But when you speak Malaysian, whatever language that you speak, it goes down to like 32% or 35%. So the difference between 95 and 35 is it just means that it works and it doesn't work, right? So we just thought, okay, for Malaysian to be an AI-driven country, we have no choice but to go back to the drawing board and build the infrastructure for, first and foremost. And that's what we did with Ilmu. We curate a whole bunch of data. And in fact, the first set of data that we teach Ilmu is from academically from standard 1 to form 5. And a fun fact is that Ilmu is the first large language model and still the only large language model that passed BM Bahasa Malaysia in SPM. And it is able to speak in very colloquial Manglish. And then Right Bank is able to utilize that infrastructure towards the Malaysian population.
Our own team doing a lot of proper tests. So very, very impressive. For the language model, previously I live in Malaysia for 7 years. I have a lot of local friends in Malaysia. Every time we chat with each other, amusing me is you can speak a lot of language, maybe 7, 8. And the funny thing is, interesting is they mixed together in one sentence, right? So this is very common. I'm sure if you also often chat with the AI, use this same language, right? So I think this is very important, the accuracy, localization. And also we have our one of the product named Real Dog. Real Dog means use AI to identify whether the document is real or AI generated. So we really need this local language model to recognize the local language. And also we have our MaaS platform, model as service. We integrate all the best model all over the world, west and east, to provide a technical harmony.
What were the key factors that led you to choose Ant Digital Technologies?
They're really a trifecta. First and foremost, Ant is already serving similar type of institutions and in similar geography, which means that they already have seen like Malaysian type of faces versus like say Germany type of faces, right? Secondly is that the type of company it is. We see how advanced it is from an AI research standpoint and from other technology standpoint, that how good Ant is, one of the big tech in China. And thirdly was our estimation of what it will be able to do to support us, because we realize that in building this kind of frontier bank, we will encounter a lot of problems that no one ever had before in the world. So you need partners to help you along the way, and not necessarily from their experience, but essentially to be creative with you, right? So, and that has been validated from the hindsight, that Ant has been extremely helpful throughout our journey when we built the bank and after we built the bank. Case in point is that Gary Sen was on site right beside me actually during the first heartbeat of Right Bank. You need a group of supporting players to help you to build something great, and we fully think that Ant Technology is one of them.
Leo, from like Ant Digital Technologies point of view, so what was it about like Right Bank's vision that made them also the right strategic partner?
Impressive with 3 parts. The first part, Right Bank have very clear strategic ambition. They not only want to be the good or better, they want to become the best in Malaysia and in the world. So we are willing, have this partner and customer like that. The second one, the Right Bank team show very, very strong execution, no matter what kind of difficulty, they're still very confident and overcome them. The third is the local depth. YTL Group already have many decades, experience in Malaysian market. They know the market, they know customer, they know the regulation, they know what the customer need and what is the best ecosystem. In Malaysia, we are still young, still new. We need, the right partner will work hand in hand, especially for the AI era.
Turning a vision like into working infrastructure is not that straightforward, especially in financial industry. If you have any like moment in the project where technology, business logic, and also compliance requirements all need to be solved together at the same time, what made that possible?
So I remember 2 cases. First, during 2 of the biggest festival in Malaysia. One is the Chinese New Year, another one Ramadan period. During that time, we can see the new onboard customer number increased dramatically. The second is now the new My Card is going to release, right? So we are coordinated together with how to comply with the regulation. Not just tune the technology parameter. There's a lot of localization, reshape the working flow. As I mentioned, there's a lot to localize the case. Only maybe this scenario only Malaysian market have. We cannot find it in other countries. So there's a lot of co-work. And also, both our team never compromise the deadline, the task. They finish the job and deliver very good result.
I think building the right bank has been really meaningful experience for me. First and foremost is that it's a technologically driven bank. However, at any given problem, it's not just being driven by technology people, but it's also driven by risk people, compliance people, operations people, and business people. So we ask ourselves, can we get this done safely, compliantly, and much more importantly, still have the customer delight, right? If you look at our onboarding process, I think that within Malaysia is the best digital bank onboarding process, and it is always reputed to be less than 2 minutes. And we have been in the planning room for many tens of hours planning it, not just from a technology and product standpoint, but with compliance, with risk, and with business people as well, that everyone is working towards the same goal. And this is what I'm really proud of for the work environment within Right Bank.
Now we move to something about trust when it comes to like banking, financial industry, and then also at the same time AI. So trust is always one of the key words. Leo, from your point of view, like how do you guys like design technology that build trust rather than just detecting fraud?
Trust is not the slogan. I think the trust should be stems from result. As you know, and digital technology, we support and groups business. Our daily users are more than billions in China or plus outside China. So you can imagine how much of the transaction business flow every day, how many of the challenges, how many of the difficulty, how many problems occur every day. We solved this kind of challenge and problem every day. So that's why we accumulate the experience and then we can deliver it to our customer. And eventually we can win the trust for Red Bank. The average time for onboard one of the new customer maybe 2 to 3 minutes, right? So during this 2 to 3 minutes, so actually we have a lot of work to be done in the backend. For example, for eKYC, they have 5 steps: document OCR, and then validation, one-to-one matching, network checking, blacklist screening. At the same time, our deepfake function utilize the AI technology to detect whether this face, this documentation, this video is AI generated or not. Everything will be managed in maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And apart of that, our decision engine can detect fraud and AML in just 50 milliseconds. Customer even didn't aware that. They just open the app, screen the face, maybe just scan the passport, everything. You didn't aware that. We can perform on the backend, didn't disrupt the customers. So that's why I think the best security is the security that the customer didn't aware that.
Chee Mun, how do you like translate all these philosophy about trust to your customer and let them feel it?
Trust is an outcome. It's usually something that you have to do repeatedly. And I think first and foremost, what's the most important in trust when we are giving services to our customers is the fact that you have to give good value, right? If you don't give good value to the customer, if the customer doesn't find value in interacting with you, then regardless of how safe you are, the trust is not going to be there. So first and foremost, they have to find it useful and they have to find it, okay, it is actually making a difference in my life. And not just that, you will have to do it repeatedly and do it repeatedly when they need you and constantly be giving them customer delights and constantly enlarging our ecosystem in such a way to encompass a lot more of the person's financial life. And this is what we think building trust is for a digital bank in Malaysia. We just continuously be working to cover more of the financial lives of a customer in a way that is really thoughtful from first principle standpoint.
You've also moved from like rule-based compliance to ML-driven transaction monitoring. So that's a real transfer of judgment from humans to models in financial services where accountability is non-negotiable. So where do each of you like draw a line between like what AI should decide and what must stay with the humans? What do you guys think like that line will shift in the next few years? How that line will shift also?
AI being used in the backend is not new. I started designing AI in backend when we first started Moneyline, like say 14 years ago. And to me, it is no different from designing a complex computer system where you are first principle driven, right? Certain tasks are better for human and certain tasks are better for AI. And if AI, a lot of times you use AI to filter down to specific signals so that a human can look at it, because humans are better in understanding ambiguous signals and be able to make sense out of it better. So it is really not a line. It sometimes can be a workflow where AI first and then to human, or sometimes it can be human first to AI. So in such a way that most time than not, I would recommend anyone designing this kind of system to go back to first principle, what you are trying to achieve, break it out into tasks, and then be able to assign it properly with the best of technology. And it is true that these tasks that incrementally AI is doing, if not on par, better job than a human being. So that is something that we have to move with time as well.
So I think no matter AI how advanced, they need to follow three basic requirements to utilize in financial sector. First, explainable. All the decision can be explained to customer. Second is auditable. All the process from data, from the model, everything should be clearly documented. Third one is traceable. Process and the result, everything should be traceable. Only the AI meet these three basic requirements in financial sector, then we can fully rely on them.
There are still problems in banking that AI couldn't really solve. What would be the next hard problem like each of you are going after?
Most of the IT architecture is still silo, especially in conventional bank, not like a AI native bank, because they born in AI. From the day one, they already, based on the unified database, unified platform. But especially for the conventional bank, if they want to migrate to AI native or AI infrastructure, I think there should be only three parts. The first part is they have unified database. The second part is they have AI-based this decision engines. But I think the most difficult is not the technology. It's organization reform, because during this transformation, the power will be shift from one department to another department. That's why I think AI transformation, it must be the CEO's top priorities task or project. So otherwise, nobody can really move to push them.
Any AI transformation is actually not a technical process. It's actually a very cultural process. If you manage to change the culture of the company, you manage to change the technical of the technical infrastructure of the company. In fact, the technical infrastructure is easier, much easier to change relative to cultures.
We are always told that we should embrace AI, and there are many things that AI can do. How AI can help SMEs, and also how AI can help like young people to start their businesses, especially when they don't have a lot of track record. Yeah, how can AI help that?
If you look at the technology revolution, so you can see at the early stage, all the value architecture is like a upright triangle. In the first stage, all the value structure can be divided three layers. The first layer, infrastructure and the platform, and application. So during the mobile broadband era, we just talk about from the 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. Maybe before 3G, the architecture later is like a triangle, because you can see all the telco equipment provider, they own the most part of portion of the value, and then the telco operator, and then it's like a SMS application. But moving to 5G, this structure reversed. Means equipment provider for small portion, and this carrier, and the last part is application. Like e-commerce, like short video, like investment, like the banking. The application is huge. So moving to AI, you can see now the GPU provider, equipment storage provider, they account the most part of the portion value. And then this big language module provider, and the application now is like that. Maybe after 2 years, 3 years, eventually this structure will be reversed. So there are also a lot of application, a lot of company, small company will become the giant company because they leverage this structure. You can see previously coding is very difficult for ordinary people. Now everybody can coding, right? You just as long as you can speak a very clear your mind, then you can create this coding, and you can create the software and also product. So means everybody can realize their dream already. So leverage this advantage of this AI. We can see a lot of OPC occurred in China, means a one-person company. And in China, there are a lot of cities government encourage this OPC. They provide the infrastructure, provide the endorsement, encouragement to let them to become and grow. So previously, maybe 20, 30 people can form a small media enterprise, but now maybe only one person can do everything. So from product and also marketing, and also to customer acquisition, everything can be done by agent. So I think now a lot of OPC very successful, especially in two industry. One is e-commerce, another one is like a KOL, like a video creator, because one person can do everything, and their business grow very fast. So this thing happened in China. I'm sure in Asia Pacific region, that also can be done in a very short time, because in Asia Pacific there's a lot of young generation, very dynamic, and economic grow very fast. So I'm sure, I really believe, leverages this AI capability. A lot of OPC, successful OPC will be happening in Malaysia.
First and foremost, I'm a builder, and essentially, how I think AI can help is something. Essentially, I'll flip the question to what can I build with AI so that we can help more people. So I think Leo just mentioned the proliferation of OPCs, and even if it's not OPC, it is companies that has a lot of economic value but has very little employees, maybe 2 or 3 people. All right. So to us is that from a right bank standpoint, we want our SME product to be highly differentiated, to be highly AI driven. And what does that mean? We will be able to help a lot of entrepreneurs, younger OPC players, to make the most economical value out of themselves and utilize AI agents that we built for them in their economics life. And these are the kind of technology that we will be pushing out in the very near future when we have our SME banking within the year itself.
Across Southeast Asia, there are still many banks and also financial institutions. They are watching from the sidelines, weighing transformation. So if each one of you could say one honest thing to them, not a talking point, but something that you truly believe, and about AI adoption, about choosing the right partner, so about what genuine readiness looks like. So what would it be?
It's about customer centricity. So what's the next step that we're going to do? right? People are saying digital bank is the kind of bank that doesn't have branch. To me, that is wrong. To me, the next generation of technology that we're going to have is that we are going to have a branch for every single customer that we are going to have, right? So instead of having one concierge, you have 15 concierge for that particular customer that is specialized in everything from deposit to investment to if I want to transfer money to my son in the United States, there is an agent that knows how to do it. So there should be a branch specialized in every single person within the bank. That is the next generation. So to me, customer centricity, always think about how to provide for your customer will be the most important principle in digital banking or banking in general.
Maybe I have two sentences. The first one is, if you want to learn to swim, you must get into the water. The second is, I think that AI transformation must be the CEO's own project. Otherwise, nobody can really push it.
Looking forward to it. Now we want to make the conversation a little more interesting and more fun. So I would like each of you to ask each other like one question. You can ask anything. Who would like to start first?
You obviously have an illustrious career and you're obviously a very successful person, right? So in that regard, in the age of generative AI where everything changed so much, right? What is the one piece of advice that you want to give a typical 18-year-old person? How should they be approaching their life?
For 18 years old people like my daughter, so I would like to give the advice that don't 100% rely on AI. It will deteriorate their capability for thinking. And we can outsource our thinking, but cannot outsource our understanding, right? So we should fully utilize AI, train us to help us to upgrade our capability. So this is my point.
So any question from you to Chee Mun?
Okay, Chee Mun, as we know, you have two part of very successful career, right? And you retired and come back. But my question is, when you wanted to real retire, and what is your retirement life like that?
Thanks for the question, Leo. Thank you for saying successful, but I think success is obviously something that is relative. But I retired for 4 months. It was highly recommended because that was when I get to start meeting people that I make it a point to meet people that I generally would never meet. Like I would make it a point to meet like architects, journalists, judges, right? Because previous life, I only meet engineers. I only meet like finance people. So that was highly recommended and enlarged your worldview. However, during the retirement, I also understood one fact that I'm not made for retirement. I have no talent to retire. So for me is that I think I find a lot of meanings in my work. And I think I'm also, first and foremost, I just have to say that I'm very lucky to find work that are generally I find not just meaningful but also impactful, not just to myself or immediate friends or family, but to a greater society. And that is what I want to continuously be doing for the rest of my life. And that's why if I have all of my faculty intact, I probably will not retire for the rest of my life.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This comes to an end to our conversation. For me, I'm really happy to know more about AI, more about digital bank, and then security, of course. And then for me, two important takeaways from this conversation today. So from Ant Digital Technologies, I learned that the best security is invisible security. Then from Right Bank, what I learned today is when it comes to AI native bank, when AI become the design principle rather than the feature. These are the two important takeaways from these two gentlemen today. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation today. See you next time. Bye.